Well, hey everybody, this is your pal Dave again. Yeah, I've seen where people will, that are new to the IP will ask, a common question is, what dish should they do first? Well, when you're brand new to the IP, please crack it out of that box and get it up to work on, okay? And there's some people that for whatever reason are reticent to try it. Pressure cooker, something they're not familiar with. But I'm hoping that a couple introductory videos will help people get a little more familiar and learn that IP is a great kitchen gadget. It's my #1 gadget here in my kitchen. I live alone, so it's cooking for one, which is specialized. Those of you who cook for one, you know what I'm talking about. We're going to cook up some corn. I've already husked it, and I pop them in half. I have this steamer basket that they're going to steam in. That's all. That's what we're doing. We're cooking with steam. Now, each time I'm going to remind my viewers, make sure, because I've heard about people that didn't put their, this is the inner pot, that has to go in. Some people have made the mistake of not putting that in and they start filling up in there. You don't want to do that. That's going to cause some problems. Please don't do that. Your inner pot, it's stainless steel. It's food grade stainless steel, so can't hardly beat that. That's the way to go. My beautiful steamer basket. I even have a smaller steamer basket that fits in there. I never use that. I just use this one. It's even got a silicone coated handle, so it's just absolutely perfect. Let's put that in. And the other thing that people will sometimes forget, and you can't forget this step, it's not going to cause a huge problem, but I think what would happen if you forgot to put water in, well, my guess is that your pot would not come up to pressure. I don't think you'd get a burn notice unless you had something sitting on the bottom, which for what we're doing today is not happening, because we're using the steamer basket. There's nothing going to be sitting on the bottom. If you had something sitting on the bottom and you had no liquid, no thin liquid that can create the steam, then yes, you could get a burn notice. A burn notice is not nothing to panic about. However, it'll stop the cooking process, which for me, that's inconvenient. So I've had a burn notice a couple times, so I've learned a couple lessons along the way. That these things that my intention is to share with you, so that so things can go smoother for you. So I pop these in half, and let's go ahead and put them in. I put them in standing up, but it doesn't really matter. You can just put them in any way that you like. Okay, and I've already got the Instant Pot plugged in. As you can see, I use a little colander. It's helpful because let's get those strings out of there. When the cooking is done, let's just get that going. So I've got the water in. Everything's cool. I check the seal because if this, when you cook a lot with it like I do, over time this seal will shrink. And I had one time it wasn't sealed correctly, and oh boy, I had a little bit of leakage going on, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I said, oh, I'll bet the seal is not seated correctly. And sure enough, it was. And the little trick was I Googled and learned that what happens is over time, this seal can expand, and then yes, it will fall out. And the solution is to put it in the freezer, believe it or not. Huh? And it hasn't, I haven't had a problem since. Okay? Little trick. So let's go ahead and get that top on. Okay, you get the beep beeps, little R2D2 beeps. Now I'm going to turn my, this is another thing, I've forgotten this before in the past, and I can always tell because when I usually go into my room and I can hear from there the steam whistling, and it can't build pressure. You've got to put the relief valve to seal, okay? And that's the valve on the back. And I've made sure that mine is on seal. Seal means that the steam can't escape, so the pot is going to come up to pressure. I just use this pressure cooker button on the lower right. I have a 6-quart, okay? And it's perfect for me, okay? I'm cooking for one. I wouldn't want a bigger one for me because, see, so now I've got this on 5. Now it's going to take a little time to build up, and it's on, and now it's going to heat up the water. It'll boil the water and turn it to steam. And once it's all the way up to pressure, it will start counting down that 5-minute time that we've put on it, okay? So, yeah, this is the perfect size for me because, for example, with beans, I buy a 1-pound bag of beans, and that fits in there perfect. Okay? So I'm going to give this a rinse, but there's really not much to see. It's going to take at least 5 minutes for this to come up to pressure and start cooking. And then that's when our 5-minute cook time will count down. And if you watch my introductory movie, because the first thing you should do, if you've got a brand new Instant Pot, you crack it out of the box and get it on your counter and plugged in and set up. The first thing you want to do is the water test. And that was my first video that I did. Okay, so maybe I'll refer to that in the link below when I get a chance. And don't be intimidated by these different buttons. The only ones I've used since I've had this, and I've had this a while, a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years, I don't know. I use this button the most, pressure cooker, okay? It's the default. It's cooking with high pressure, okay? The keep warm button you see here lit, that's like a default, okay? That will keep the food warm because let's say you go off and do something, you cook a meal, it counts down the cook time and it stops. It's going to keep the food warm. My goodness, if you had that off, it would stay warm anyway, because if you keep the lid on, it's going to stay warm for a while, but you could keep it on. You could keep that on if you felt that's necessary. What I like to do when I'm done cooking, I just hit the cancel button so it turns that off. These other buttons, there's a saute function. The saute function, if you're someone who likes to saute your aromatics, your garlic, your onion in a oil, then the saute button is going to be for you. Okay? Absolutely. Now, another button that I've used that is very impressive if you're into yogurt, which I was up until I started this new plant-based only Whole Foods, essentially vegan diet is what I'm on. Vegan, I don't cook with oil, and but I was making my yogurt prior to getting on this diet. And I got to tell you, I got to mention it because it's so cool. You press that, we'll do a video on that, but there's a yogurt button, and it's just so easy to make absolutely perfect yogurt, so we will definitely do a video on that. So I'm going to stop the video and let this come up to speed, and then I'll be right back. There's no need for us to just wait and watch this come up to speed, okay? I'll be, a little remote for my iPhone to turn the video on and off. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, talk soon. I'll be right back. Okay, the IP just came up to pressure. It beeped once, and now it's cooking. You see, there's our 5 minutes. It's cooking down now. So, so once again, there's not a whole bunch to see. I wish I would have caught the beep, but Sorry about that. It's not a huge deal. And it's going to take 5 minutes, cook down. I'm going to pause the video again, and because I'm doing other stuff in the background, multitasking, just like I would if I was, well, I am cooking, and that's how I do it. I guess that's an important feature of this method of cooking. I like hands off, set it and forget it, because I got other stuff to do, and I'm able to do that. It's not a type of cooking that I have to stay with and tend to. You see, so that's another reason why I like it. Once I get everything in the Instant Pot, and I set it and forget it. Okay. And if it finishes cooking and I don't immediately get out here, it's no problem. The keep warm light is on by default, and I just leave that. I just leave all the defaults on, just like I do with my camera. You see, I like to keep things simple, easy, quick, and cost effective. Okay. And oil-free, healthy. I love cooking with steam is my favorite. In fact, I even read this morning that as far as broccoli is concerned, if you want to get the most nutritive qualities from preparing broccoli, steam it. So for me, cooking with steam is a winner. Okay, and that's where the Instant Pot shines, because it's a pressure cooker. That's what it does. I mentioned the saute function for those who still want to saute their garlic and onion in oil. Initially, when I first started doing that, I thought, that was really slick. I was using that all the time because it seemed like it would enhance, and that's why people do this. It enhances the flavor of whatever dish you're doing. Okay, so I wouldn't dispute that using the saute button, using a little bit of oil, then the question then you can get into what oil are you going to use. A lot of people use olive oil, but correct me if I'm wrong, olive oil has a low smoke point. So I want to be cognizant of that. I was using avocado oil. It has a higher smoke point because I'm trying to do everything healthy. I don't want to create carcinogens because I smoked the olive oil, whether that's a correct idea on that. Oh, I'm talking away, all right? We only got 1 minute to go. I'm rattling away. And so there are things to talk about and know, and I'm sharing my experience. Am I an expert on the Instant Pot? No, I'm certainly not. Okay. Although I've used it a lot. I've done some different things with it. And things that I've done, the learnings that I've experienced, I'm going to share with you. That's all. And then you can take it from there. There's books and videos and groups on Facebook. And so for me, the learning is just going to continue because I'm going to get into some other types of cooking. I'm interested in Indian vegetarian cooking. And I want to do it with the Instant Pot for all the same reasons. This is my favorite way to cook. Don't use the stovetop that much. I'd like to get into using the oven. With the oven, I can roast. You can't roast with this. So now the cook time is over. So we'll let this go for just a minute. I want to show you what's happening here. This means that cook time is over. Now watch what happens as we let it sit. It's going to start counting up. And it might be confusing for you at first. It was for me until I realized, oh, it's cooking up how many minutes after it's counting up, is what I said, cooking up. It's counting up how many minutes have transpired since cooking completed, okay? Hope I'm explaining that clearly. And because if you just let that go, ultimately the pressure will release. It's called natural release, or I like the abbreviation NR, which I don't use too often because for me, Instant Pot is about doing things quickly. Like with this corn, you see, it's counted up. So it's 1 minute after cook time finished. With the corn, like I'm hungry right now, okay? So I'm going to hit the cancel button, and you'll notice that cancel turns the Instant Pot off. It's no longer, the keep warm light is no longer on, okay? And, but the pot is still under pressure. So now I'm comfortable touching the relief valve. I'm going to release the pressure by opening the release valve. The relief valve. Don't put your hand over. That's hot steam. That will burn. Don't do that. And in the prior video, I showed that the little goodies that come, the little items that come with your Instant Pot are kind of cool. If you're not comfortable touching the relief valve, if you get one of these, it's got a little hole on it. You can use that to open and close, or open the relief valve to release the steam. Okay, let's take our lid off and let some of that water drip off. Isn't it cool that I can just do like that with my lid? I love that. See? Look how that doesn't take up any counter space. I got a tiny little kitchen. I'm in a real small apartment. So I want to, that corn is still cooking because it's really hot. And I'm going to grab my tongs. I've got a colander. I'll just pop the corn in the colander. Okay. And that's good. I'm going to unplug my Instant Pot. And I'm running cold water on my corn because I'm hungry. I want to eat. So when people ask what's the first dish, first I'm going to ask them, have you done the quick release? If they say yes, I'm going to say, well, how about doing something simple like steaming a vegetable? Especially something like corn, all right? It's great because I'm going to shut this video off and I'm going to dig in on this wonderful corn. And I won't eat it all, so I'll eat 2 or 3 of these, and I'll have 2 or 3 left over. I'll put them in a Tupperware and put them in the fridge. Tomorrow I'll have a wonderful snack, cold corn to eat. Okay? So I like the idea of starting at the beginning with something, introducing the Instant Pot, doing some real simple things with it to start with, and then in further videos, we can continue on with showing, for example, a pot of beans or a pot of soup, which I've done a lot. Okay, and I can show you some tips or tricks on that, and then, like I say, we'll do a video on yogurt. I think that's important to show you that because once you see it, if you're interested in a really nice yogurt with no sugar or preservatives, a yogurt that hugely flavorful, perfectly healthy, and if you want to, you can strain the whey and make Greek yogurt so that you can make a what do they call it, a tzatziki sauce, I believe, with yogurt and cucumber. And so, okay. Hey, thank you for watching. I'm going to shut this video off and I'm going to have some corn to eat.